Many of us reach old age thinking time will naturally carry us forward, that just because we're alive today, tomorrow is guaranteed. But the truth is harsh and simple. Most elderly people don't live past 82. Why? Because they ignore the most important things: their health, mindset, and purpose. When we think about aging, many imagine it as a slow, natural process that happens regardless of what we do. We assume that reaching old age means simply accepting the changes that come with time. But the reality is far different. Neglecting your physical health is not just a passive act. It actively speeds up your body's decline and drastically reduces your chances of living a full, vibrant life past 82. The body is not designed to wither away silently. It reacts to how we treat it every day. If you ignore your health, your body will pay the price in ways you may not immediately notice until the damage is irreversible. The first thing to understand is that our bodies require maintenance, just like any machine. When neglected, parts begin to break down. If you stop moving, your muscles weaken. If you feed your body poorly, organs strain under the burden. If you ignore the warning signs of illness, conditions worsen quietly but relentlessly. Many elderly people don't reach beyond their early 80s because they fail to care for their physical well-being consistently over the years. One of the biggest mistakes older adults make is underestimating the importance of exercise. It is common to think that because you're old, physical activity is risky or pointless. But this is the exact opposite of the truth. Movement is medicine for the aging body. It preserves muscle mass, strengthens the heart, improves circulation, and helps regulate hormones that control metabolism and inflammation. Without regular exercise, muscles atrophy, bones weaken, and the risk of falls and fractures skyrockets. Sedentary lifestyles contribute directly to heart disease, diabetes, obesity, and cognitive decline, all conditions that heavily shorten lifespan. Nutrition plays an equally crucial role. Many elderly individuals neglect proper diet due to lack of knowledge, habits formed in youth, or even simple convenience. However, poor nutrition starves the body of the essential vitamins, minerals, and macronutrients it needs to function well. Excessive intake of sugar, processed foods, and unhealthy fats causes chronic inflammation, a silent killer that damages every cell and accelerates aging. Conversely, diets rich in fruits, vegetables, lean proteins, and healthy fats support the immune system, enhance cellular repair, and maintain organ function. The food you put on your plate can either fuel your decline or empower your longevity. Hydration is another often overlooked aspect of physical health. As we age, the sense of thirst diminishes, and many elderly people simply do not drink enough water. Dehydration impairs kidney function, reduces cognitive clarity, causes muscle cramps, and increases the risk of urinary tract infections and other complications. Staying hydrated is a simple yet powerful habit that supports every system in the body. Ignoring medical care is a silent contributor to accelerated physical decline. Routine checkups, screenings, and early treatment for chronic diseases or acute illnesses can dramatically alter the course of aging. When symptoms are dismissed or masked with over-the-counter remedies without professional guidance, underlying conditions worsen. Hypertension, diabetes, high cholesterol, these silent killers progress without obvious symptoms, but cause irreversible damage to the heart, kidneys, and brain. Early detection and management extend life and improve its quality. Neglecting these routine health measures is a common reason many do not live past 82. Sleep is another pillar of physical health that often suffers with age, yet it is fundamental to repair and recovery. Poor sleep patterns, untreated sleep apnea, or chronic insomnia impair immune function, reduce cognitive performance, and increase risks of heart disease and stroke. Many elderly individuals resign themselves to sleeping less as a normal part of aging, but this is a dangerous misconception. Quality sleep is essential for cellular regeneration and overall vitality. Stress management also affects physical health significantly. Chronic stress triggers the release of cortisol and other hormones that, over time, degrade the immune system, increase blood pressure, and cause inflammation. Elderly people facing isolation, grief, or anxiety who do not find ways to manage stress face compounded physical decline. This physiological burden can shorten lifespan and reduce the ability to enjoy later years. In summary, neglecting physical health sets off a chain reaction that accelerates the aging process. The body, if left without proper movement, nutrition, hydration, medical care, sleep, and stress management, deteriorates faster than natural aging alone. Many elderly people fail to survive past 82 because they allow their health to decline unchecked, thinking it is inevitable or out of their control. But the truth is, taking responsibility for your physical well-being is the single most powerful action you can take to extend not just the years of your life, but the quality of those years. The difference between a fragile, dependent old age and a strong, vibrant one often comes down to the daily choices made long before reaching 80. When people think about aging and longevity, the focus often falls heavily on physical health. While the body is important, what many overlook is the critical role the mind plays in determining not just how long you live, but how well you live. Mental stagnation is one of the most overlooked causes that contribute to many elderly people not living past 82. The mind, like the body, requires constant exercise, growth, and stimulation to remain healthy. When it stops growing, it begins to shrink literally and figuratively. And that decline in mental engagement can accelerate the aging process in profound ways. Our brains are designed for lifelong learning. Neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to form new connections and adapt, does not vanish with age, it diminishes only if unused. When elderly individuals stop challenging their minds, stop learning new things, and fall into passive routines, they unintentionally speed up cognitive decline. This can manifest as memory loss, decreased problem-solving ability, slower processing speeds, and even the onset of diseases such as dementia and Alzheimer's. Mental stagnation weakens not just the brain, but also the body's resilience. One of the main reasons mental stagnation is so dangerous is because it feeds a cycle of withdrawal and isolation. When the mind feels dull or confused, many elderly people withdraw from social interaction and mentally demanding activities. This isolation then reinforces the decline because social interaction is one of the strongest mental stimulants there is. Conversations, debates, storytelling, and emotional exchanges force the brain to work in complex ways. Without these, mental faculties decline faster. The more isolated the mind becomes, the more rapidly it deteriorates. Many elderly people believe that slowing down mentally is just a normal part of aging, something they must accept. This resignation is a major problem. Declining mental function is not a mandatory fate, it is often the result of neglecting mental fitness. Just as a muscle weakens when unused, the brain's cognitive capacity diminishes when not exercised. Reading, puzzles, learning new skills or hobbies, engaging in meaningful conversations, and even digital literacy are proven ways to keep the brain active and healthy. Neglecting these mental exercises leads directly to cognitive stagnation. Depression and anxiety also play a significant role in mental decline. Psychological health is intimately connected with brain function. When elderly individuals suffer from untreated depression or chronic anxiety, brain chemicals and structures involved in memory and cognition suffer damage. Mental stagnation is often a symptom of underlying emotional pain, loneliness, or trauma that remains unaddressed. This emotional burden not only decreases quality of life but also shortens lifespan by weakening the mind-body connection. A key factor contributing to mental stagnation is fear of change, fear of failure, or fear of the unknown. Many elderly people avoid trying new things or adapting to modern life because they believe it's too late to learn, or they worry about embarrassment. This fear creates mental barriers that prevent growth. However, the mind thrives on novelty and challenge. Facing new experiences, even if uncomfortable at first, stimulates brain activity and builds resilience. Choosing to remain in a comfort zone ensures mental decline. Another often ignored factor is the role of purpose and meaning in mental health. When people lose their sense of purpose, their minds often slow down. Purpose fuels motivation, curiosity, and engagement with the world. Elderly individuals who maintain clear goals, whether it's mentoring younger generations, volunteering, or pursuing passions, often show better cognitive health and longer lifespans. Mental stagnation is often a reflection of a deeper void of meaning. It's also critical to address the impact of technology in the modern world. While some elderly people resist new technology because it seems complicated or unnecessary, embracing digital tools can offer powerful mental stimulation and social connection. Learning to navigate smartphones, social media, or online education platforms keeps the brain active and provides new ways to engage with others. Refusing to adapt to technological change may contribute to mental stagnation and isolation. Furthermore, poor sleep quality, often neglected in mental health discussions, has a profound effect on brain function. The brain uses sleep to consolidate memories, repair cells, and clear toxins. Without adequate and restful sleep, cognitive abilities deteriorate faster. Mental stagnation can be both a cause and consequence of poor sleep, creating a vicious cycle that weakens the mind. Nutrition, too, supports mental vitality. The brain consumes a significant amount of the body's energy and requires specific nutrients to function properly. Diets lacking in omega-3 fatty acids, antioxidants, and vitamins B and D contribute to cognitive decline. Many elderly individuals do not pay attention to how their food choices affect their brain health, unknowingly accelerating mental stagnation. In many ways, mental stagnation can be seen as the slow suffocation of the spirit. When the mind is not actively engaged, when curiosity and learning cease, the very essence of a person's being begins to fade. This decline impacts decision-making, emotional regulation, and even physical health. The brain and body are deeply interconnected. Weakness in one inevitably leads to weakness in the other. To break free from this mental decline, one must recognize the danger of stagnation and commit to lifelong mental fitness. It requires intentional effort, cultivating curiosity, embracing challenges, maintaining social ties, seeking purpose, managing emotional health, and adapting to change. It's not enough to simply exist. The mind must be alive, alert, and growing. The truth is, many elderly people fall victim to mental stagnation because they surrender to complacency or defeat. But those who choose to engage their minds daily can dramatically improve both their lifespan and their quality of life. Purpose is the invisible fuel that powers the human spirit, especially as we age. Without it, life becomes a hollow routine, a series of empty days that slowly drain away vitality and joy. Many elderly people fail to live past 82, not because their bodies are incapable, but because they lose their sense of purpose. When purpose fades, energy fades with it. The spark that once drove them to wake up each morning dims, leaving only exhaustion, boredom, and a slow withdrawal from life itself. This loss of meaning drains life energy and accelerates decline. Humans are wired for purpose. From the moment we are born, our minds and bodies respond to goals, challenges, and meaning. Purpose gives direction, motivating us to overcome obstacles and seek growth. It is a core component of psychological and emotional health. When elderly individuals lose sight of their reason for living, their motivation collapses. Without motivation, physical and mental decline accelerate because there is no compelling reason to take care of themselves or engage with the world. A lack of purpose creates a void that is often filled with negative feelings, loneliness, regret, and despair. These emotions are toxic, causing the brain to release stress hormones like cortisol that, over time, damage organs and impair immune function. The absence of purpose also causes many elderly to withdraw from social activities, exercise, or hobbies they once enjoyed. This withdrawal leads to isolation, depression, and physical deterioration. The cycle of purposelessness directly impacts both mental and physical health. Purpose is not just about big achievements or grand ambitions, it's about having meaningful reasons to live each day. For many elderly people, retirement can feel like the end of purpose. The roles that once gave their lives meaning, career, parenting, community involvement, may no longer be present. Without a new purpose to replace those, life feels empty. But purpose can be found in small, everyday acts: caring for a grandchild, mentoring younger people, volunteering, or pursuing creative passions. These activities reignite energy and slow the aging process by giving the brain and body a reason to stay active. Studies show that people with a clear sense of purpose live longer and healthier lives. Purpose acts as a protective factor, reducing the risk of diseases such as Alzheimer's, heart disease, and depression. It improves resilience, helping individuals bounce back from setbacks and maintain a positive outlook. Elderly people who maintain a strong purpose have higher levels of dopamine and serotonin neurochemicals that regulate mood and motivation, resulting in better overall well-being. When purpose is lost, the elderly often face a dangerous vacuum that can lead to harmful habits. Some turn to excessive drinking, overeating, or substance abuse as a way to fill the emptiness. Others succumb to chronic inactivity, allowing their bodies and minds to weaken further. Without purpose, these self-destructive patterns become easier to fall into, shortening lifespan and diminishing quality of life. Purpose also connects deeply to identity. When elderly people lose purpose, they often struggle with questions like, "Who am I now?" or "What am I worth?" This identity crisis can be devastating, stripping away confidence and self-esteem. The resulting feelings of worthlessness exacerbate mental health problems and physical decline. Conversely, having a clear purpose helps anchor identity, fostering a sense of belonging and self-worth that sustains life energy. It is important to recognize that purpose is not something that magically appears. It requires effort and intention to cultivate, especially in old age. Many elderly people wait passively for purpose to come to them, but purpose must be actively pursued. This might mean setting new goals, learning new skills, or reconnecting with old passions. It might involve reaching out to others or contributing to a cause greater than oneself. The process of finding and living purpose creates a positive feedback loop of engagement, energy, and health. Another factor is the mindset around aging and purpose. Society often sends the message that old age is a time for rest and withdrawal, which can discourage elderly individuals from seeking purpose. This cultural narrative needs to be challenged. Purpose is not limited by age. It can be renewed and reshaped at any stage of life. In fact, many elderly people find profound purpose in ways they never imagined when younger, such as spiritual growth, storytelling, or legacy building. The physical body responds to purpose as well. Purposeful individuals tend to have better sleep patterns, stronger immune systems, and lower inflammation levels. This is because purpose reduces stress and improves hormonal balance, which directly affects physical health. Elderly people who live without purpose often experience chronic fatigue, aches, and a general sense of frailty that worsens their health outcomes. Finally, purpose fosters connection. When elderly people find meaning, they are more likely to seek out and maintain relationships. These social bonds are essential for emotional support and mental stimulation. Without purpose, social connections wither, and the resulting loneliness further drains life energy. Purpose and connection work hand in hand to create a fulfilling and long-lasting life.
Poor lifestyle habits are among the leading reasons many elderly people fail to live past 82. The choices made daily, what you eat, how much you move, whether you smoke or drink excessively, have a profound impact on your body's ability to function well as you age. Chronic illnesses such as heart disease, diabetes, cancer, and respiratory conditions are often the direct result of years of neglecting healthy habits. These illnesses don't arise suddenly. They develop slowly over time, quietly damaging organs and tissues until the body can no longer keep up. The lifestyle decisions made decades earlier catch up and determine whether one leads a long, healthy life or a shortened, burdened one. One of the most damaging lifestyle habits is poor nutrition. Consistently eating foods high in processed sugars, unhealthy fats, and refined carbohydrates creates an internal environment ripe for chronic disease. These foods cause persistent inflammation in the body, a root cause of many chronic illnesses. Excess sugar consumption leads to insulin resistance, which can develop into type 2 diabetes, a condition that greatly increases risk for heart disease, kidney failure, and stroke. Processed and fried foods contribute to high cholesterol and clogged arteries, which restrict blood flow and lead to heart attacks and strokes. Many elderly people live with these conditions because of lifelong poor eating habits. Lack of regular physical activity is another major contributor to chronic illness. Exercise is not just about weight control, it is a powerful medicine for preventing disease. Moving the body helps regulate blood pressure, improves insulin sensitivity, strengthens the heart and lungs, and promotes healthy bone density. Without movement, muscles weaken and metabolism slows, leading to obesity and its related illnesses. Sedentary lifestyles increase the risk of cardiovascular disease, type 2 diabetes, certain cancers, and osteoporosis. Unfortunately, many elderly people adopt a sedentary lifestyle out of habit or fear of injury, unknowingly accelerating their decline. Smoking is one of the most harmful habits that dramatically shortens lifespan. Tobacco use damages nearly every organ in the body. It causes chronic obstructive pulmonary disease (COPD), lung cancer, heart disease, stroke, and numerous other cancers. Smoking reduces oxygen delivery to tissues, impairs immune function, and accelerates aging of the skin and internal organs. Even elderly individuals who have smoked for decades still suffer the consequences, with a significantly higher risk of early death. Quitting smoking at any age improves health outcomes, but many fail to quit due to addiction or resignation. Excessive alcohol consumption is another lifestyle choice that leads to chronic illness and early mortality. While moderate drinking may have some protective effects, heavy or regular excessive use damages the liver, brain, and cardiovascular system. It increases risk of liver cirrhosis, certain cancers, cognitive decline, and accidents. Alcohol also disrupts sleep patterns and weakens the immune system. Many elderly people develop alcohol dependency or continue harmful drinking habits started earlier in life, contributing to poor health and shortened lifespan. Poor stress management often accompanies unhealthy lifestyle choices and compounds their effects. Chronic stress leads to elevated cortisol levels, which increase blood pressure, promote inflammation, and weaken immune defenses. Stress can also drive people to unhealthy behaviors such as overeating, smoking, and drinking. Elderly individuals who do not develop healthy coping mechanisms may find themselves trapped in a cycle of stress and poor health, increasing vulnerability to chronic illnesses. Sleep deprivation or poor sleep quality is another hidden lifestyle factor linked to chronic disease. Many elderly people suffer from insomnia, sleep apnea, or fragmented sleep, often untreated or ignored. Poor sleep impairs the body's ability to repair cells, regulate metabolism, and maintain cardiovascular health. It increases risk of obesity, diabetes, hypertension, and cognitive decline. Lifestyle habits such as excessive caffeine or alcohol use, irregular sleep schedules, and lack of physical activity contribute to these problems. Ignoring preventive health care also counts as a lifestyle choice with serious consequences. Regular medical checkups, screenings, and vaccinations help detect illnesses early and prevent complications. Elderly people who neglect these preventive measures miss critical opportunities to manage risk factors such as high blood pressure or cholesterol. Without intervention, these conditions silently worsen and lead to heart attacks, strokes, kidney failure, and other fatal outcomes. Preventive health care is a lifestyle habit that supports longevity but is often underutilized. In addition, poor hydration habits can exacerbate chronic illness. Dehydration impairs kidney function, causes electrolyte imbalances, and reduces physical performance. Many elderly individuals do not drink enough water due to diminished thirst or fear of incontinence. Chronic dehydration worsens conditions like urinary tract infections, constipation, and cognitive impairment, further reducing quality of life. Lastly, unhealthy social habits such as isolation and lack of community engagement can contribute indirectly to chronic illness. Social isolation increases stress, depression, and unhealthy coping behaviors, all of which worsen physical health. Elderly people who lack social support have higher rates of heart disease, cognitive decline, and mortality. Maintaining social connections is a lifestyle choice that supports mental and physical well-being. Overall, poor lifestyle habits create a perfect storm for chronic disease. The body, bombarded daily by unhealthy food, inactivity, toxins from smoking or alcohol, unmanaged stress, poor sleep, and neglect of medical care, gradually loses its ability to repair and protect itself. The cumulative effect is chronic illness that limits function, causes suffering, and shortens lifespan. Many elderly people who fail to live past 82 do so because these lifestyle choices have taken a devastating toll over the years. Social isolation is one of the most silent but deadly threats to longevity, especially among the elderly. While many think of physical health or genetics as the primary determinants of how long we live, the truth is that social connection plays an equally vital role. Elderly people who live isolated lives face a significantly higher risk of early death, and the reasons behind this are both biological and psychological. Loneliness and lack of social interaction create a cascade of harmful effects that damage the mind and body, accelerating decline and increasing mortality risk. The statistics are stark. Those who are socially isolated are more likely to develop chronic diseases, experience cognitive decline, and die prematurely compared to those who maintain strong social ties. Humans are inherently social creatures. From birth to old age, our brains and bodies depend on interaction with others for optimal functioning. When elderly people lose contact with family, friends, or community, they lose a vital source of emotional support, mental stimulation, and even practical assistance. Without these connections, feelings of loneliness deepen, leading to stress, depression, and anxiety. These negative emotional states increase the release of stress hormones such as cortisol, which in turn damage the immune system and promote inflammation throughout the body. Chronic inflammation is a known contributor to many age-related diseases, including heart disease, diabetes, and Alzheimer's. Social isolation also deprives the elderly of mental engagement. Conversations, shared experiences, and social activities challenge the brain, keeping it active and flexible. When isolated, the mind lacks this stimulation, which can accelerate cognitive decline and increase the risk of dementia. The brain's plasticity, or its ability to adapt and form new connections, diminishes without ongoing social interaction. This cognitive deterioration leads to memory loss, confusion, and decreased ability to care for oneself, further deepening isolation in a vicious cycle. Physical health is directly impacted by social isolation as well. Those who are isolated often have poorer health behaviors. They may neglect exercise, proper nutrition, and medical care because of depression or lack of motivation. Without encouragement or accountability from others, they are less likely to adhere to treatments or attend medical appointments. Additionally, isolated elderly people may lack assistance in emergencies, delaying critical care. The combination of neglect and lack of support raises the risk of serious health complications and early death. Studies have found that social isolation increases mortality risk to a degree comparable to smoking, obesity, and physical inactivity. The risk of dying prematurely is roughly 30% higher for socially isolated individuals compared to those with strong social networks. This statistic alone highlights how crucial social connections are for survival, yet social isolation among the elderly is widespread and often overlooked by healthcare providers and families. The reasons elderly people become isolated vary. Retirement often reduces daily social interactions. The loss of a spouse or close friends can shrink one's social circle drastically. Mobility issues, chronic illness, and sensory impairments such as hearing loss can make communication and participation in social activities more difficult. Technology, while a potential tool for connection, is often underutilized by older adults who may feel uncomfortable or lack access. These factors combine to create barriers that isolate many elderly individuals from meaningful relationships. Loneliness and social isolation also negatively impact emotional health. Chronic loneliness is strongly linked to depression, which itself is a major risk factor for physical illness and mortality. Depression can cause changes in appetite, sleep disturbances, decreased immune function, and poor motivation to care for oneself. When depression goes untreated, it creates a downward spiral that accelerates decline. Social support acts as a buffer against depression, providing purpose, encouragement, and a sense of belonging. Moreover, social connection promotes a sense of purpose and identity. Elderly people who are involved in communities, families, or social groups maintain roles that give their lives meaning. These roles can be as simple as being a grandparent, a volunteer, or a member of a religious or hobby group. Losing these roles can lead to feelings of uselessness and decreased self-worth, which impact mental and physical health negatively. Maintaining social bonds reinforces self-esteem and motivation to live a healthy, engaged life. On a physiological level, social isolation has been shown to alter gene expression related to immune function. This means loneliness and isolation can literally change how the body fights infections and repairs damage. The body becomes less efficient at healing and more prone to inflammation, which increases vulnerability to chronic diseases. This biological impact underscores why social isolation is more than just a feeling. It is a serious health risk. Interventions to reduce social isolation can have profound effects. Programs that encourage elderly people to engage in social activities, community centers, group exercise classes, and technology training help restore connection and improve health outcomes. Family involvement is crucial. Regular visits, phone calls, and encouragement to participate in social life can make a significant difference. Healthcare providers should screen for social isolation as part of routine care, recognizing it as a vital sign of health risk. In addition, pets can provide companionship that alleviates loneliness and encourages daily routines. Many elderly people find comfort and purpose in caring for animals, which also promotes physical activity and emotional well-being. Creative solutions such as intergenerational programs where young people and elderly interact regularly have also shown success in reducing isolation and improving mental health. Ultimately, social isolation is a preventable risk factor for early death. Despite its serious consequences, it is often invisible or dismissed as a normal part of aging. Recognizing the profound impact of social connection on longevity and quality of life is essential. Building and maintaining strong social bonds can protect elderly individuals from the devastating effects of isolation, supporting their mental, emotional, and physical health well into advanced age. Ignoring medical care is a critical factor that significantly shortens the lifespan of many elderly people. Despite advances in healthcare, many older adults fail to take full advantage of the services available to them, often due to denial, fear, financial concerns, or lack of knowledge. This neglect leads to untreated or poorly managed health conditions, resulting in complications, decreased quality of life, and ultimately, premature death. Regular medical care is not just about treating illnesses as they arise. It is about prevention, early detection, and ongoing management that keeps chronic conditions under control and prevents emergencies. One of the main reasons elderly people ignore medical care is fear. Fear of diagnosis, fear of hospitals, or fear of losing independence causes many to avoid checkups or ignore symptoms. Some believe that feeling pain or discomfort is simply a natural part of aging and not worth reporting. This mindset can delay diagnosis of serious conditions such as cancer, cardiovascular disease, or diabetes, which are far more treatable when caught early. By the time symptoms become severe, the window for effective treatment may have closed, reducing survival chances. Financial concerns also play a significant role in medical neglect among the elderly. Many older adults live on fixed incomes and worry about the cost of doctor visits, medications, and treatments. Even with insurance or government programs, out-of-pocket expenses can be daunting. This leads some to skip appointments, avoid filling prescriptions, or delay seeking care until conditions worsen. The result is often emergency hospitalizations that could have been prevented with timely care. Financial barriers create a dangerous cycle where untreated illness leads to higher medical costs and more severe health problems. Lack of knowledge or understanding about medical conditions and treatments further contributes to neglect. Medical information can be complex and confusing, especially for those with cognitive decline or limited health literacy. Some elderly people do not fully grasp the importance of preventive care, screenings, or medication adherence. They may underestimate the severity of symptoms or believe that lifestyle changes alone can reverse chronic diseases. Without proper guidance and education from healthcare providers, these misunderstandings lead to inadequate self-care and worsening health. Poor communication between elderly patients and healthcare providers can also result in ignored medical care. Some elderly individuals feel rushed or dismissed during appointments, causing them to withhold concerns or misunderstand instructions. Language barriers, hearing impairments, or cognitive difficulties can make it challenging to convey symptoms accurately or follow treatment plans. When patients do not fully understand their conditions or the importance of follow-up care, they are less likely to engage in necessary medical actions. Chronic diseases require ongoing management, and ignoring this responsibility leads to complications that shorten lifespan. Conditions like hypertension, diabetes, arthritis, and chronic obstructive pulmonary disease need regular monitoring and treatment adjustments. Without consistent care, these illnesses progress unchecked, damaging vital organs and impairing function. For example, uncontrolled high blood pressure can lead to strokes or heart attacks, while unmanaged diabetes causes nerve damage, kidney failure, and infections. Ignoring medical care turns manageable conditions into life-threatening crises. Preventive health care is essential for early detection of diseases that may not yet show symptoms. Screenings for cancer, osteoporosis, cardiovascular risks, and vision or hearing problems can identify issues before they become severe. Vaccinations against influenza, pneumonia, and shingles protect against infections that are especially dangerous for the elderly. When these preventive measures are skipped, Diseases develop silently and are discovered only when advanced, reducing treatment success and survival rates. Medication adherence is another critical aspect of medical care often ignored by elderly patients. Taking prescribed medications correctly ensures that chronic conditions are controlled and complications minimized. However, many elderly people struggle with complex medication regimens, forget doses, or stop taking medicines due to side effects or misconceptions. Failure to follow medical advice can cause blood sugar spikes, blood pressure spikes, or uncontrolled symptoms that increase hospitalization risk. Education, support, and regular review of medications are necessary to improve adherence and health outcomes. Emergency care avoidance also shortens lifespan. Many elderly individuals hesitate to seek help during acute health events such as chest pain, severe shortness of breath, or stroke symptoms, fearing hospitals or feeling reluctant to burden others. Delayed emergency care reduces the chance of survival and recovery, as timely intervention is crucial in such situations. Encouraging elderly people to recognize warning signs and seek immediate medical help is vital to preventing preventable deaths. Mental health care is often overlooked in medical care, but is equally important. Depression, anxiety, and cognitive disorders are common in the elderly and affect physical health outcomes. Untreated mental health issues can lead to poor self-care, social withdrawal, and increased mortality risk. Access to mental health professionals, counseling, and support groups is essential, but frequently neglected by older adults due to stigma or lack of resources. Healthcare system barriers also contribute to medical neglect. Limited transportation, long wait times, and difficulty navigating healthcare bureaucracy can discourage elderly people from attending appointments or accessing services. Those with mobility issues or living in rural areas face additional challenges. Without assistance or accommodations, many elderly individuals fall through the cracks, missing out on critical care. Family support plays a crucial role in ensuring elderly individuals receive proper medical care. Families often act as advocates, helping schedule appointments, manage medications, and encourage healthy behaviors. When family involvement is lacking due to distance, conflict, or caregiver burnout, elderly people are more vulnerable to neglecting their health. Strengthening family and community support systems is essential to improving healthcare engagement among the elderly. In conclusion, ignoring medical care shortens lifespan by allowing diseases to progress, reducing the effectiveness of treatment, and increasing the risk of emergencies. Fear, financial barriers, lack of knowledge, communication challenges, and system obstacles all contribute to this dangerous neglect. Overcoming these issues requires education, support, accessible healthcare services, and a cultural shift toward valuing preventive and ongoing care in old age.